Hello and welcome to Blurr. This is a space where we slow down, where we explore books not just for what happens in them, but for what they quietly do to us. Today's book is A Different Type of Poison by Liz Alterman. This is not a loud thriller. It doesn't rush. It doesn't shout. Instead, it settles in slowly. It's a psychological suspense novel about transformation, about the cost of being seen, about admiration turning uncomfortable, and about how emotional danger often arrives disguised as care. This video is not a replacement for reading the book. It's an interpretation, an analysis, and a reflection. So take a breath and let's begin. What this story is really about. At first glance, this story seems simple. A writer finally finds success. She returns to her hometown. Old memories resurface, but a different type of poison is not really about plot. It's about power, specifically emotional power. It asks a deeply modern question. What happens when your identity changes, but the people around you refuse to adjust their expectations? This book explores how admiration can quietly evolve into entitlement, how memory can become unstable, and how kindness can cross boundaries without ever appearing cruel. The poison in this story isn't hatred. It's intimacy without consent. Plot summary. We meet Molly Archer at a turning point in her life. For years, Molly was a struggling novelist. Her earlier books didn't succeed, and she learned how to survive without attention. She adjusted her expectations downward. A quiet, familiar survival strategy. Then, unexpectedly, her newest novel breaks through. Success arrives suddenly and unevenly. Molly is newly divorced, raising 2 children and trying to create stability. Fame brings validation, but it also brings exposure, and exposure brings vulnerability. Soon, she receives an invitation to return to her hometown in Ohio for a book-related event. The invitation comes from a woman who claims to be a devoted reader and admirer. Molly doesn't remember her. That small uncertainty becomes the seed of tension. When Molly returns home, everything feels slightly off. Her mother's memory is deteriorating. Old relationships feel altered, and the admirer's presence is persistent, intimate, and unsettling. What unfolds is not a dramatic confrontation, but a gradual tightening. Pressure replaces comfort, familiarity replaces consent, and Molly must slowly confront the realization that admiration can be just as dangerous as hostility. Molly Archer and the first transformation. Molly's first transformation is external. She becomes successful, but the novel is far more interested in her internal transformation. The shift from invisibility to visibility. For a long time, Molly learned how to exist without being noticed. Suddenly, she is noticed, watched, discussed, admired, and admiration demands performance. The book captures this beautifully. The pressure to be grateful, to be accessible, to accept emotional closeness even when it feels intrusive. Molly doesn't immediately resist, not because she's weak, but because she's conditioned. The novel understands how difficult it can be to say no when attention once felt like survival. Why the suspense feels different. This is where A Different Type of Poison truly stands apart. There is no fast escalation, no dramatic villain reveal. Instead, suspense grows through discomfort, through conversations that linger too long, through kindness that demands reciprocation, through emotional closeness that feels earned rather than offered. This kind of suspense feels unsettling, because it mirrors real life. Emotional harm rarely arrives with warning signs. It arrives politely. It smiles. It insists it means well. Transformation as the central theme. Transformation is everywhere in this novel. Molly transforms from unknown to visible. Her hometown transforms from nostalgic to threatening. Admiration transforms into control. Memory transforms into uncertainty. But the most important transformation is the final one. Molly must transform from someone who absorbs pressure into someone who resists it. The book suggests that growth doesn't always mean becoming more open. Sometimes growth means becoming less available. This is a powerful message, especially for readers who have been taught that kindness means compliance. The best part of the book, the greatest strength of this novel, is its emotional honesty. It understands that harm doesn't require cruelty. It doesn't require shouting or violence. Sometimes harm comes from people who genuinely believe they deserve closeness. The book explores how difficult it can be, especially for women, to withdraw emotional access once it's been given. That insight feels real and unsettling and deeply human. Where the book may not work for everyone, this is a slow-burning novel. Readers looking for constant twists, dramatic pacing, or action-driven suspense may find it restrained. The story lives inside emotions rather than events, inside tension rather than confrontation. But this slowness is intentional. The book is asking you to feel the pressure, not rush past it. Who should read or listen to this book? This book is ideal for readers who enjoy psychological depth, creatives navigating visibility and validation, listeners interested in emotional power dynamics, anyone who has experienced admiration becoming uncomfortable. If you've ever felt pressured to be grateful at the cost of your own comfort, this book will resonate. Why this book is worth your time. A different type of poison doesn't try to shock you. It tries to make you aware. Aware of how boundaries blur. Aware of how praise carries expectations. Aware of how transformation can make us vulnerable. It reminds us that not all danger is loud. Some danger whispers. Some poisons work quickly, others take their time. They blend in, they sound like care, they feel like understanding. A different type of poison leaves us with a quiet reminder. Pay attention to who benefits from your transformation, and never mistake access for love. Thank you for listening on Blurr. If you enjoy thoughtful book analysis, quiet storytelling, and meaningful conversations with literature, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps this space grow. Until next time, stay curious, stay gentle, and keep reading.